Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. This is gonna be like a spiritual successor to the JoJo's Fighters video. Today we're gonna be talking about what if Persona 4 Arena got a sequel and it was Persona 5 Arena. Disclaimer, this is inspired by Thorgy Arcade, who has already done a what if there was a Persona 5 Arena as well. He did that to celebrate one of Persona's anniversaries. I'm not doing that, so disclaimer, there will be no representation from Persona 1 and 2. I'm gonna try to keep this game's roster as realistic as possible, and I think Modern Atlas, they don't really show any love towards Persona 1 and 2, and they could be trying to forget it, I don't know. So if you clicked on this video thinking there would be Persona 1 and 2 stuff in here, unfortunately not. Let's start talking about the game. So Persona 4 Arena has two variations. There was the normal Persona 4 Arena, then there was Persona 4 Arena Ultimate. So Persona 4 Arena only had 13 characters, and when Ultimax came out, it got 20. It was either upgraded to 20 or 22. So how many characters would Persona 5 Arena have? I looked at it like this. So with modern fighting games, let's assume Atlas wants to dip back into fighting games. We want to keep this game as alive for as long as possible. Give it a bit of longevity and whatnot. So I concluded we will go up, I should say, to 30 characters, base game, and we're not going to go too crazy on the DLC. So we're going to have one wave of DLC being 6 characters, in total ending the roster at 36 characters. So before we dive into the roster, this game has to have a story, because I've kind of built the roster around this story. So, for context, I'm going off the basis that, I don't know the actual Persona timeline, but let's say if this game does happen, it's going to be after 5. It's going to be 1 or 2 years after 5. A little bit longer after 4, and even longer after 30, if you get what I'm saying. For example, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax had the whole Persona 3 cast older. So at this point, the Persona 3 cast in this game would be all in their mid-20s. The Persona 4 cast would be in their early 20s, and the Persona 5 cast, honestly, the Persona 5 cast can say the same, because I think that's what they did with Persona 4 Arena, is that the Persona 4 characters were the same age, maybe only a year older when their game ended. So, one more time, Persona 5 characters are going to be a year or 2 older. Persona 4 characters are going to be in their early to mid-20s, while the Persona 3 characters are going to be a bit older, in between the mid and late 20s. So what is the game story? What is this about? We're going to have a new villain. I'm not really making characters for this. So new villain. He learns about personas and stuff. Maybe kind of an actual Persona 4 Arena. You can pick which side of the story you want to start on. You could start with the Persona 3 story, the Persona 4 story, and with this game you could be able to start with the Persona 5 story. So no matter which story you pick, that is how the villain will learn about personas like Shadows. So for example, if you start with 3, he's going to learn about Persona, Shadows, the Midnight Hour, all that. Start with 4, he's going to learn about the TV world, Personas, and Shadows. And if you start with 5, he's going to learn about palaces, mementos, Shadows, and Personas again. And he gets his Persona, And I was thinking this persona could be something to do with like time. And he starts to mess with time, and it starts affecting the world like all over. And while he's doing this, he has like a plan to like take over the world, basically like reshape the world. So, and with the ability of his time like powers, he's going to go back in time to the games and recruit villains such as Strega from Persona 3, the Strega team, Akechi from Persona 4, and I was thinking Akechi for Persona 5 ultimately to be like the villain, since he seemed to be pretty strong, and plus he's smart. Like, so this is how the team would be. Strega would be there for like tactics and stuff. Akechi would be there because he's like a master detective, and Akechi's just there because he's crazy and like he agrees with the guy. Like he might like agree with this new villain's ideals to create the world. So they all team up, and them teaming up, like they're all coming from different times, starts to like warp reality. And that's when our main characters, like our heroes, start to see this, and like they're like, oh shit, we need to lock in and stop this. And that's basically going to kick the story off. And it's also this whole like time shenanigan thing. It's a good thing to do to get some characters in here and to get like some stages in here. I got like a cool stage I really like. So with the story out the way, I mean, if you are like really curious about the story, it could literally be anything. Like, whatever story you start with, it's that team like deciding like what is happening. They enter their like special place like Tartarus, TV World, Mementos, whatever, and they meet the other party. They defeat the villains, take down the big bad. So, let us finally start forming the roster. I'm going to start with Persona 3 and head down. So, for our first character, we have Makoto from Persona 3. We obviously have to get the main character in here. Kind of like what I said in the JoJo's Fighters, this is another mechanic in this game, would be the ability to use your personas. Like, you could maybe like press a button and your character would like jump in the background and you'd start fighting with your persona, and that unlock like a whole new moveset. Like, maybe, like, since all the Persona 3 characters use guns, they would all have, like, gun moves or something. Well, the Persona 5 cast also has, like, a lot of guns. So, anyway, Makoto would... I'll go ahead and, like, little spoiler alert. Makoto, you, and Joker, they're all three in this game. Spoiler alert. But these three would be like the starting characters. These are like the all-rounders you get to play like the tutorial with, learn the game, learn combos, etc, etc. Not much to say about Makoto.
This is a tough case, even for Junpei Iori, ace detective.
Ace detective? Are you stupid or something? More like Stupe, ace defective.
Yukari. Yukari is one of the first people you meet in Persona 3, and it's gonna be obvious we're gonna get her in here. She'd probably have a lot of moves tied with her bow and arrow. I wouldn't say she's like a zoner. Maybe she has moves with her bow and arrow, where you have to be really precise or it's really hard to control. But if you can hit with the arrow, it does a lot of damage.
Fear not, Junpei's here!
Is Junpei Iori the GOAT of Persona 3? So, Junpei is a character who's in Persona 4 Arena, and he has a really cool baseball mechanic, and a lot of people like it. So, without saying much, we are just going to port the baseball mechanic into this game and see how it goes.
It's great, but I also miss Kirijo-senpai navigating. Kinda felt like getting stepped on.
I'm not sure what you mean by that, but did you want to be punished?
Mitsuru is another GOAT of Persona 3. She could have a lot of moves with her ice abilities. Maybe she could set traps with her persona, and if you step on it, it like freezes you or something. But I mean, the same can be said with like all of like the ice users who have like ice personas. But maybe Mitsuru could be a little bit different. She could also just pull out a gun and just start shooting you over and over again.
I know, Shinji. Crying won't change anything, right? I don't need you to tell me that. In the end, I can't run away from who I am.
Akihiko. Now, before starting this video, I already knew what kind of video, or what kind of character he was going to be. You already know. Put his gloves on him, and just have him just start beating the opponent. Akihiko would definitely be a character you do not want him to get close to you, because once he does, he is going to get you stuck in a combo and just juggle you in combos, maybe have him really fast, and just like he's just an all-time brawler, a beatdown brawler. And maybe there could be combos where it's like he just beats you into a wall over and over again, doing multiple combos, and then to finish you off, he summoned this persona and it shocks you with like electricity. Because I'm pretty sure Akihiko was like his persona was electricity based or lightning based.
Now's my chance. I'm catching this!
Ken. Another reason why I wanted this game to be about like time and like going through time. So maybe this version of Ken could be maybe an adult at this point. Maybe like not like a grown adult, but maybe like 18 or something. So we could finally see like a new grown Ken who's like dealt with like all like the trauma of going through Persona 3. And maybe, I'm pretty sure, wait no, Koromaru is Wind. But it would just be cool seeing a new variation of a character that we haven't yet to see. Because I think he's like an early teenager in Persona 4 Arena. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about an older Ken. Koromaru. And like I said a second ago, he is a Wind. So his moveset would be, it could be all about like using wind on the stage and just throwing you around, like throwing you back. Maybe he would have like projectiles or something. Or maybe he would have a move that could get him out of combos and just like blow you across the stage. And another thing, I just wanted Koromaru in this game because I'm a big fan of Iggy from JoJo's being an All-Star Battle R. And I just like these little creatures in fighting games. I think it's very neat. Aegis, the cyborg, the machine. So Aegis would definitely be a zoner with all like the guns and stuff. you wouldn't be getting near her. Like, if this was like a top tier Aegis player, you would not be getting near her. She could like blow off her fist and it will like punch you and whatnot. Set up like lots of different attacks. Maybe have some explosives in her arsenal.
Let's do this. Me handle this. Out of my sight!
That's a win for the
Don't
team!
come back.
Good job, everyone!
Shinjiro from Persona 3, or Shinjiro. Lots of like things you could do with him, as he didn't have that much time to grow in Persona 3 before October 4th. RIP to the GOAT. But he could be like a heavier Akihiko, where he's just like a slow tank. Like, he could throw hands. He would basically be a slower Akihiko. Like, he could probably have like tank damage, stuff like that. Tank through multiple attacks. But maybe he wouldn't have like a run. Maybe that's like the drawback. He's like so slow. He just walks everywhere with aura. So with that done, we are now going to move on to Persona 4. Who doesn't love Persona 4?
Nobody touches his precious Nanako! The sister complex kingpin of steel, Yu Narukami!
Yu Narukami. Like I said, all-rounder. You would start with, like, when you start the Persona 4 storyline, he would be the first character you play the tutorial with him, you learn combos, all that. He's just the go-to pick for, like, a default character. Like, just all the Persona protagonists are. And of course, he would have moves with his, like, iconic sword. Maybe that's the difference between, like, Makoto, Yu, and Joker. Makoto would have, like, since he just has a pistol, maybe he would have like a ranged attack, but it's like slow, but it like does more damage. Yu would have to get up close and personal to attack, and Joker, he has like switches basically, and he could like fire faster but do less damage than Makoto.
Me. I was taking a walk when I suddenly got a phone call. You're really into me, aren't you? A motorcycle date, huh? Well, if you want to take a ride that bad, I'll go with you. Wait!
You have Yosuke Hanamura with his daggers or knives or whatever, and his persona Jiraiya. You know it. He probably wouldn't be like Koromaru. He would probably not really have like the same kind of wind attacks. Maybe he would have like gale projectiles where he like can shoot like slices of wind at his enemy to maybe keep them back. Also, while we're talking about Yosuke, I'd like to point out how cool looking Jiraiya is.
It's weakness!
Ooh, can I have this? Here I go! Take this!
We have Chie Satonaka. Chie, I had to put her in here. You know, I will admit, it's obviously going to be a no-brainer that she gets in, but this is purely out of bias. Chie is the GOAT. Chie is the best Persona girl, no doubt, no debate. But she would be a close-up fighter with like her like legs and stuff because she kicks a lot. And you already know her ultimate would have to be the Galactic Punch. Maybe like if Chie gets like her meter full, it has to take like your whole meter. Maybe you could just Galactic Punch the enemy and just automatically win the round. That would be pretty nice.
Nerd! I've got my lacy unmentionables on, stacked from top to bottom. I'm out to catch a whole harem, and the best of the lot is gonna be all mine!
I have Yukiko. Can't have Chie without Yukiko. Green and red duo. The twin dragons. So, Yukiko would have a lot of fire moves. Obviously. Maybe just flame projectiles. Just everywhere. Just shoot flame after, like, fireball after fireball after fireball. Or maybe a move Yukiko could have. She summons a fireball with her persona, and with her fans, she could, like, damage boost them or make them go faster. Or make them bigger.
That's it. I quit. It just ain't my thing. The hell with the exams. It's time for my animal crackers.
Ooh, can I have some too? I want to find the penguin.
Hands off the penguin. It's mine.
Kanji, another Persona 4 GOAT. And you already know, for Kanji's main weapon, just like in Persona 4 Arena and Blaze Blue, he's got to bring in the chair as his weapon. Maybe for like the victory animation for Kanji, he like grabs the chair, opens it, and takes a seat, and like hits the camera with a smirk. That'd be cool. But Kanji's persona would be big and tanky. Maybe Kanji himself would be like kind of fast and does like light damage. But if you switch to his persona, where his persona is like massive, by the way, maybe it is super slow but does like hella damage with like lightning and stuff.
What is it? What's wrong? What is that?
Teddy. Not as cool as Koromaru, but we love Teddy nonetheless. So, Teddy, just like everyone else, has a persona. But maybe Teddy could have a move to escape combos where he, like, his human form, like, jumps out of the suit. But maybe in his human form, he's very weak compared to how he is in, like, the teddy bear form. And with his thing, he has ice. And maybe the characters that have like Meteorama and like healing abilities, maybe they can also heal themselves a little bit.
I'm sorry, Teddy. Only people have human rights.
Of Naoto, the genius detective, way before Akechi's lame ass. So, we're going to play a bit into Naoto's genius detective character archetype, because Naoto's going to be our first character who, like, specializes in debuffs with her persona. And she's also the first Persona 4 member to have a gun, so there'll definitely be that as well. And maybe she could apply buffs to herself, depending on how she plays, but I like her being more of a debuffer. And for our last Persona 4 character, a little bit of an odd out there pick, but with this game's story revolving around time, I decided for the last Persona 4 character to be
Every day's great at your Junas.
an older Nanako. Can just imagine this, an older Nanako who has a persona. I think that's really cool. I don't know what her persona would be. Maybe since Nanako is really caring, maybe she could have like a healing persona where she specializes in healing. Maybe she could be like Naoto where she could like debuff the enemy or something. Or maybe she could have like some sort of like light moves with her persona, since her like dungeon in Persona 4 was heaven. Maybe it could be that. Maybe her persona would be like an angel or something. That would be cool. Let me know what y'all think of an older Nanako with a persona. Alright, starting with Persona 5, we have Joker. Like I said, Joker would be an all-rounder basic character. He would have his guns, which shoot fast but do little damage. And he would have his like melee and his persona arson.
For real?
Ryuji with his persona Captain Kid. Captain Kid is another persona that looks really good. Ryuji has like this mace thing he has with him, I'm pretty sure. Maybe we could play into that. Maybe he's like another like rush down character where you don't really want him getting in your face, so you have to like keep him away. Or like once he does, like mace to the face, mace to the face, mace to the face, mace to the face.
Man, your costume's impressive.
It's the will of your rebellion, lady.
On, also known as Panther. There's not really much to say about her. She'd be a very like basic character, I think. Maybe, you know, have her like fire moves, maybe like a flamethrower move. She throws fire all around the stage.
What are you doing with those lobsters? While you were busy with your interrogation, I found these beautiful specimens on sale, and so I decided to spend the last of my money on them.
Have Yosuke, the artist. We all love Yosuke. And Yosuke, kind of like An, would probably be another basic character. In like a fighting game like this, you can't really do too much to difference the characters. A lot of these characters are going to be the same, and that's fine. But they're not going to be like the exact same, like they're all going to have like different moves and whatnot. Maybe Yosuke could be really fast. Maybe he could be like a dasher with his katana. Like, he's always like zigzagging around the stage, like slicing you like from all over. He could be like how Hit is in Dragon Ball Fighters. He wouldn't be so fast he just disappears off the screen. He would just be like a blur.
契約に移りましょう。我は汝、汝は我。せっかく見つけたあなたの正義、どうかもう見失わないで。今日は偽りの自分からの卒業記念日です。なんだ
Makoto, whose moveset could be really good. Kinda like Yosuke, she would be like a fast character where her persona is a motorcycle. Think of like the things you could do with that. Maybe we have to have a move that is her doing the Akira slide. That has to be in the game. But maybe like her persona has a health bar and you have to like destroy it to get her off the bike. And maybe she's like kind of weak off the bike, but she has like nuclear persona magic, so maybe her ultimate could just be her walking away on some girl boss energy while like you explode in the background.
I need sushi!
Morgana. You know, wind moves, all that, not really much else to say. Maybe he could have like moves where he summons like tornadoes with his like persona's rapier. That would be pretty cool. Maybe he'd be like a character who has like a long range, since his persona uses a rapier sword. And it could just like jab at you, just jab, 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 jab. I imagine Morgana would be like a super annoying character to go against in like rank. And maybe he could have like some move where he transforms into the van and just like rolls over you over and over again.
But that, we just spied the polices off.
If Haru, with her persona, Milady, we're going to specifically be using the Persona 5 Royal version because it looks cooler. So with Haru's persona, it uses psychic like moves. So I was thinking Haru could maybe she's the character in this game that can mess with your controls. Like if you see her starting to do a combo, you want to stop her as soon as possible, or else like your controls are either going to get like inverted or something. There's a character like that in the JoJo's Fighters I suggested. Very like gimmicky, quirky, like one-off character.
I thought I heard something about delicious pancakes.
Akechi. Yes, I said he was a villain. But maybe with like the time aspect, the Phantom Thieves will go back in time and get like Akechi before he was like too far gone. They tell him like what's going on and they need his help, and he's like, I don't want reality to get changed. I'll help you. Pancakes? And yeah. Or maybe that's what it is. Maybe the Phantom Thieves just promise him pancakes or something. And for our final Persona 5 character, I want you to imagine this. Maybe like in the story, depending on how connected it is, maybe it's like all the characters talking and they're like, wow, we're not enough to defeat the main villain. Guys, do you have any suggestions on what we can do? And then Joker's thinking, he's like, I might know a guy. And they go back in time and recruit.
I'm done. I get it now.
The final Persona 5 character, Dr. Maruki from Persona 5, who is like, his whole thing is that he wanted to erase all the bad from the world. And Joker sees this as a last ditch effort. They're like, hey bro, we need you to come help us or else everything is gone. And I'm pretty, like, Maruki would obviously be like, what are you talking about? And like, then he'd go and see it and be like, you know what? To see my version of the world, I have to help you guys. So yeah, I'll tag along. And I think Maruki is like a pretty out there pick. I wanted more out there picks like Nanako and Shinjiro. And plus, we haven't really got him in like anything else. And plus, I just wanted to include a Persona 5 Royal character. And I know there was a real obvious Persona 5 Royal character I could have picked. Don't look at me with those eyes. But we're done with the base roster. Wait, no, we're not. No. Oh, almost forgot. We have 4 more characters. I labeled these as special characters. So, you know what? I'll do like a fire round of these 3. We have the Velvet Room trio, Elizabeth, Margaret, and Caroline and Justine. But I'm assuming it's like that fused form that we see at the end of Persona 5. So we have the 3 Velvet Room attendants with the 3 games. Maybe they would play like a big part of the story. Maybe they're like, maybe at the start of the story mode, they like get the characters together and be like, hey, this is what's happening. This situation is so dire. We're going to help. You know how cool that would be just to see like, and have all 3 Velvet Room attendants playable. And they could all have like different moves. Maybe they all kind of like play the same. Maybe they all have like multiple Persona compendiums with like different personas in it. That'd be cool. And for our last base roster character, some of you may like this, some of you may not, but I really wanted a weird pick.
Maybe it's this one. Ooh, tasty.
It's Jose from Persona 5 Royal. Now, despite being like a shopkeeper, and he doesn't ever really fight, but he survives in mementos, surely the dev team could cook up an awesome moveset. Maybe give him abilities with like stars or something, or stickers, since that's what you give him in Persona 5. And, you know, he likes stars, I think. So, that concludes the base roster. All 30 characters. Just a little recap of the 30 characters. We have Makoto, Junpei, Yukari, Akihiko, Mitsuru, Ken, Koromaru, Aiga, Shinjiro, Yu, Yosuke, Chie, Yukiko, Kanji, Teddy, Naoto, Nanako, Older, Joker, Ryuji, An, Yusuke, Makoto, Morgana, Haru, Akechi, Maruki, Elizabeth, Margaret, Carolyn, and Justine, and Jose. I think this is a pretty banging roster, I'm not gonna lie. Let me know in the comments who y'all would main. But if you recall from earlier, you would have recalled me saying that there is a wave of DLC. 1 wave, 6 characters, making us 36 rosters. But before we do that, we're going to take a look at the stages I thought of. It's not going to take long. I only have 6 stages, 2 from every game. So with Persona 3, just imagine like a city, maybe like the city Persona 3 takes place in, and maybe it's like being affected by the midnight hour, and there's like all sorts of shadows in the background, and maybe this could be like a past stage where there could be like a random boss from Persona 3 in the background, and maybe like the Persona 3 party at that time would be fighting that boss. And for the second Persona 3 stage, it's gotta be Tartarus. Either a random floor, or the very top of Tartarus, or maybe the entrance. We have to get Tartarus in here. Tartarus in Persona 3, iconic. Persona 4, very obvious stage incoming. some sort of like someplace in the TV world. I was thinking like the main entrance where like depending on where you're at in the stage, you can look down like halls and like off in the distance you see like the different dungeons. Or maybe like every time you play on the stage, it loads you into like in front of like a random dungeon. Or maybe you could just select it. Maybe it could be like a variation of stages. That could also be said with like the midnight hour like city stage. And for this next stage, when I thought of this concept, I just had to use it. Since this is a time stage, this would be another like stage from the story that's affected by the time. In the Persona 4 story, exclusively, the Persona 4 characters would be going after Akechi, and Akechi was given powers by the big villain. And to kind of like mess with the characters mentally, he takes them in time to where Nanako was in the hospital and the party had to save her soul. So this stage would be Nanako's dungeon, like the heaven area. And just seeing that in my head is so cool and just like such a callback to arguably one of Persona 4's best moments, peak Chef's Kiss. And for our Persona 5 worlds, or stages, I was thinking, since there's been like a stage for all the games where there's like different variations, maybe just any palace has like stages. Whether it be like the gym teachers, Futaba's palace, Haru's dad's palace. Maybe you could like go into the settings and like pick which variation and you can just play on any of them. And like those characters would be in the background as well. Kind of like with the Midnight Hour City one again. Maybe you could even see characters in the background either like fighting or reacting to the fight, like you're doing. Now I do have one more stage. This would be like a bonus stage you get for like beating the game. I call it the distorted place. And this would be where you fight the final villain of the game. And it's a distortion of reality, the Midnight Hour, the TV world, and mementos. Basically, reality at this point in the story would be so warped and distorted that all four of these places are caving in together all at once. That just seems like really cool. There'd be like all sorts of shadows running around, maybe even fighting in the background. Maybe like a shadow from Persona 4 like comes out and like starts attacking one from Persona 3. Maybe Persona 3 boss comes out and starts attacking like a guy from Mementos or something. Maybe even Jose could be here or something. Maybe Morgana in the cat van. Teddy could be here in the background. Now before we get on to the DLC, a lot of you are probably asking where 3 certain characters are, because 3 characters are missing from the roster, that being Fuka, Rise, and Futaba. I was thinking they would be like the menu characters and like the announcers, because like they're not really like fighters. I don't think they would fit that well ultimately in a fighting game. So kind of like what I did with fighters, I'm going to keep these 3 on like the menu. Maybe it's like alternating too, like maybe when you start up the game, you're greeted with Rise, you close the game and it reopens it. Maybe it's like Fuka this time welcoming you. Basically, it'd be alternating, and I just wanted to like say what those 3 were doing. I didn't forget those 3. And they would also probably all play big roles in the story mode as well. Now, it is time to move on to the DLC characters. 6 characters, 2 from every game. Let's get into it.
Oh my. And what's halfway here? So much power, so much chaos. I'd not be foolish enough to turn my back on such a predator.
Want me to cancel the operation? No way. You're not one of them, are you?
Quit wasting time.
Takuya and Chidori. Takuya is the leader of Strega, so he had to get him in here. You know, maybe like he would have like light attacks or dark attacks. He's also a gunman as well, so he could have his gun. And maybe he could have moves where he like holds his arms out, because his whole character arc is that he's wanting to be the Messiah, but he's not. Maybe he has a move where he buffs himself, where he's like praising himself, then it buffs him. And Chidori, I wanted Chidori in here because Chidori, I really liked her in Persona 3, and her design is also peak. And if you don't think so, then you're lame. Moving on to Persona 4's DLC.
Man, you're so cruel. You make me take responsibility for my sins, but you're gonna let this bitch take you down like this? That's hilarious. Get up. You're not like me, right?
3. I decided to put Akechi in the DLC because, you know, we like Akechi, you know, our little cabbage eater. He's crazy, he's insane.
You're in pain, I can tell by what you're saying, but my bad. I'm sorry, I forgot you were fragile.
And for the last character, I decided to go with
Gain another memory. Hey, stay like this for a little while longer. So that I won't forget.
Marie from Persona 4 Golden. Marie could play a role in the story. Maybe when like in the Persona 4 story, the characters meet up with her and she's already like done a bit of work for them, like on the story. Like she knows, like maybe she's the one to inform them that like characters from their past are coming back, like Akechi, for example. And for our Persona 5 characters, I'm going with Kasumi from Persona 5 Royal. A lot of you are probably like really mad she didn't make it into the base game, but it'll be okay. She got into the DLC, so we got 3 characters from Persona 5 Royal: Maruki, Jose, and now Kasumi. And for our last DLC character, a lot of you might be a little upset. Some of you might be weirded out. Some of you might just be disappointed. But to end the game's DLC,
What?
Is this?
A clash of brute strength is simply uncalled for on this stage.
we have Sai Nijimura, Makoto's older sister, like the goth woman, of course. We had to get her in here. A lot of Persona players are unfortunately gooners, and we have to like appeal to that demographic, unfortunately. So, Sai, she is our final DLC character. Maybe since her palace was about like gambling, it was a casino, maybe her moves could be like random. It could be RNG or luck based. She has a move where she like can roll like one of those casino machines, and if it like lands on all 7s, she gets like a big buff. Or if it lands on like 3 bars, she gets debuffed. So with that concludes Persona 5 Arena. Let's look at the roster one more time with the DLC characters. We have in total 36. Makoto, Junpei, Yukari, Akihiko, Mitsuru, Ken, Koromaru, Aiga, Shinjiro, Yu, Yosuke, Chie, Yukiko, Kanji, Teddy, Naoto, Nanako, Joker, Ryuji, An, Yusuke, Makoto, Morgana, Haru, Akechi, Maruki, Elizabeth, Margaret, Carolyn, and Justine, Jose, Takuya, Chidori, Akechi, Mari, Kasumi, and Sai. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it. If you watched up until here, thank you for watching. I know this wasn't as in-depth as the JoJo's Fighters, but I had equally as fun making this. So if you like this video, I would really appreciate the like, comment, and maybe a subscribe. And with that, I'll see you all in the next one.